Hello and welcome back to another Procreate Cafe Procreate coffee break. Today we're going to be making this super fun OMG sticker with these fun little serifs or embellishments. They kind of look like a court jester effect and a really fun color palette too. So if you haven't already done so, I have provided you with the template that we're going to use. Download it. It's a Procreate file, so when you click on it, it should open automatically in Procreate. Nothing complicated to get loaded here. I've given you 3 layers when we click on the layers panel. One is your lettering layer. One is your color palette that we're going to use. And then the third, if I turn those off, turn on the steps, the general steps that we're going to follow. So today we are going to, we have the full layers, we're going to create those half bottom layers, we're going to color in our letters, both the tops and the bottoms. Those 2 steps we'll probably do together. We're then going to add those fun serifs and have a bit of fun playing with those. We'll then add in our sticker background, our letter shadow, our some bit of dimension onto our sticker itself, and then our final sticker will be ready to share. Okay, so with that we can turn off our steps layer. Let's turn back on our template and our palette. 2 things that we always do at the beginning before we get ready, a bit of housekeeping, is we create our palette and we make sure we have our sticker brush ready to go. So I'm going to click here on color palettes. I'm going to click in the on the palettes menu in the very bottom right. I'm going to scroll to the top. I have already created this palette here, but I'll create it again along with everyone. I was doing a practice run a little bit earlier. So to create our palette, we are going to hold our finger, not our pencil, but our finger on each color. You can see the ring that pops up. It has that purple color at the top. When I let go, that became my active color up here in the top right-hand corner. Once that's the active color, I simply click down here to add it. If you don't have a color palette space to add it, just click the plus sign. That will create a new blank palette for you. I'm just trying to go through and start filling in some of my empty areas in palettes so I don't keep creating more and making a longer list. And then I'm going to create that for all of the colors here. So I'm going to hold, it becomes my active color, click, hold and click, hold and click. I have my palette. I do want a pure white. To make sure I have pure white, my preferred way of doing that is to go to the disc view. Wherever you are in the circle, you don't have to be in the teal section. Just double click in this upper left hand corner and it will snap to true white for us. I go back to my color palette and I click and I add my true white. Alright, colors are ready to go. Let's click on our brush library. Scrolling towards the bottom to the brushes that were it came included with Procreate. We're going to click on the calligraphy menu and you should have a monoline brush there. I've modified mine. You probably don't have all these extras that I have. I'm going to delete this one because that's what we're going to recreate right now. So we're going to go into our monoline. We are going to swipe to the left and hit duplicate. That will create a new version of the monoline. Mine, it's labeled monoline 7. Yours might be 1 or 2 or 3, depending on how many times you've duplicated the monoline brush. We just don't want to start editing and changing the properties of the standard brush. We always do it with a duplicate. Alright, I'm going to click on that. We're not going through everything, all of the properties of a brush. We're just going to make one simple change. We're going to go to properties, menu on the towards the bottom on the left, and we're going to take that maximum size and we're going to bump it up to somewhere in the neighborhood of 400. Mine's looking, I got 400 exactly this time. Must be my lucky day. That's all I'm going to do. If I want to change the name of the brush, I can click on about this brush at the top where it says monoline 7. Click on that. I can type in my new name if I want to call it the sticker monoline. I think I have one called that already, but that's okay. I can never have too many sticker monoline brushes. And I'm going to hit done. And that's all we do. We just need a brush that's a little bit bigger than what the standard monoline brush can go. So with that, I think we're ready to get started. We can turn off our palettes layer so that disappears and we just have our layers left. Alright, before we go too far, let's turn these letters into that fun green color that they're going to be afterwards. I'm going to click on the green color. I'm going to go up here to my color palette, click that middle green, If I want to turn everything on a layer into that color, the easy way to do that is click on my layer. I'm going to select Alpha Lock. I can tell Alpha Lock's on because in here in the little preview panel, my background has turned into that gray and white checkered. So once it's gray and white checkered, it means Alpha Lock's on. Alpha Lock means that to Procreate, that all that exists on that layer are the letters. The space around it, it's ignoring at the moment. Because then if I go to fill layer, it's only going to fill in those letters. Whereas normally if I have a layer and click fill layer, it will fill in the entire layer. So Alpha Lock just restricts it to where it has something already. I can turn Alpha Lock off at this point in time. It's a little hard to see there. That green color doesn't show up too well in the preview, but you can see that it's there. I'm going to take that layer with the letters, swipe it to the left, and hit duplicate. I now have a copy where we're going to create those fun half letters with the extra swashes on them. Wow, I'm having trouble getting words out today. Alright, so I'm going to take the top layer because we're going to want that to be on top, those half letters. I'm going to go in and select that lighter teal color, the one that's right beside the purple. I'm going to do the exact same thing, hit Alpha Lock, hit fill layer. I guess I can turn my Alpha Lock off at this point in time. I'm going to go over to my eraser brush. I'm going to go into the calligraphy section. So under eraser we have all the same brushes we have access to under the brush menu. So if I go under the calligraphy section, I am going to select that sticker monoline that I made earlier. I'm going to bump it down a little bit. It doesn't have to be up at a full size. Mine's around 7%. The number isn't too important. I like to turn mine to do this. Now where we draw our line, we're going to draw a line to erase the top part of these letters. And where we want to do it, we just want to be careful that it's not going through something like this arm on the G, because that would look funny to have the cut be right in the middle. So it either needs to be above or below. And I think that cut is so low, it's going to need to be a bit above. So I'm going to turn this way, try to find a spot. This is my eraser brush. Right around there, that's just above the arm of that G. I'm going to draw a line from there across. When I hold it, it snaps to a straight line, and before I pick up my pencil, if I set down my finger, it will snap it to be perfectly horizontal, in this case vertical, horizontal or vertical. So we know it's perfectly straight, we're not running at some kind of a weird angle. And I think that's looking pretty good for where I make that cut off. So now I can make my eraser brush just a little bit bigger and go through and erase all the rest of that teal on the top half. Now a simple step, and this is, I was doing this as a practice run and realized it is better if we go in to our lower layer. I'm going to put it on top just for a minute so you can't see it. I'm going to make it transparent. And this does not have to be exact. What I want to do is delete some of this because later if I want to make shadows, it's going to be difficult. It's going to double that shadow if I shadow both. But I'm going to need to make a shadow that's specific to the lower layer so I get some shadows on my little serifs. That might not all make sense right now, but if you just follow along on this OMG layer, the light green layer, I just want to, I'm still on the eraser, I want to delete most. It does not have to be perfect. Most of the green. And in particular on this G, this is where I got into problems when I was working on this on the original. Okay, so with that I can click on the N, bump my opacity back up again. I'm going to drag that layer back below, and now it's looking just like it did before. You can't tell, but it is going to help us a lot when we get to creating shadows later. Alright, So now I'm going to click, so I'm back on this teal lower part of my letters. I'm going to click on my brush menu, select we can use that sticker monoline brush, and I'm going to make my size pretty small. I think I'm going to want to be right towards the very bottom in terms of brush size. I'm going to make sure I still have this teal color selected, which I do. And here is the fun part. Here's where we start making these fun serifs. And what they are essentially are two curved lines. We'll do an interior one and an exterior. And they will meet up with each other somewhere. And then drag and drop the fill. And I like doing these where they're all a little different. So I'm not trying to be too perfect. I do like when they match up there though. Perfect. Those look fun. Okay, I'm going to do the same here. Now it is going to start getting tricky in a moment. The O always goes fastest. This is the easy one. And then when we get through this M, we're going to have to find ways to fit them all in with each other. And vary the sizes and vary some of the angles a bit. Now what I don't like about those is when I did that snap to a perfect line, it kind of made them off so they didn't match up perfectly. But I can always go in and touch those up after. Alright, so the O's are practice. Now the M is where we have to start using skill. I have room here for a pretty big one. So I think I'll do that while I can, because some of these are going to get a bit tinier. And we want to make sure we have a good variation. There. Now, how do I want these two to go? If I do this one first, across the M. And you can always go in and play. Have fun with this. There is no exact size. Whoops, my brush is way too big. There is no exact science here. Look at that, that's not even covering. If you don't like the roundness, you can go in and edit it. But some of these can be really simple. They don't have to be big, huge flares. And this, I like what I've done before. See if we can make this work well. It's not perfect. If you can kind of mirror the curve of the one beside it, they look like they're fitting together like little puzzle pieces, which can be a really fun look. Let's take this one out a bit. There's no right or wrong, so take your time as you're doing these. Play, have fun, don't get frustrated. I have done lots of these. That's not bad. That's a really fun looking G, but I do notice these ones are bigger, so I do want to make sure I pull in a little bit of the bigger look for the G as well. So just to keep it balanced. There. All right. That's what I've got. I would love to see what you did with yours. I'm going a little bit fast there. If you need a bit more time, just feel free to pause the video, take a little bit more time, but I do want to keep moving for those who maybe are done already or short on time this morning. I like to keep these nice and short. Let's add an overall background color. So we're going to click on our palette layer so that we're below all of our letters. Add a plus sign in. We are going to go to our palette, click on that. Oops. That That's not what I wanted to do. Click on the purple color, that's my active color. Drag and drop anywhere on the canvas, that will fill in that purple color for me. Next we are going to do our sticker background. So that was what that big sticker monoline was all about earlier. So we're going to add another layer above our background but below our letters. We're going to go to our color palette, select that white color, make sure we're still on our sticker monoline brush over on the left. And I have a preset here at around 20%, it's about halfway up, is the size that I like to use. You may want your outline to be a bit bigger or smaller. And the idea of having such a big brush and a big size, you can see it's quite a large size that we're using there, is that it allows us to simply trace the outline, and that tracing will become the sticker outline. I'm not good at doing two things at once. If I'm concentrating, I don't talk so well. There we go. And feel free if you want to turn things. I like having things turned this way. If I'm doing a curve like this, they just come out a little bit better. I can fill in that G now. I'm just drawing around the outside, following the letters, fill in that O. There, that's a, whoops, redo. Okay. Alright, so I have a good outline on my stickers now in white. Now we're going to do the shadowing part. And this will make it clear why we cut our green in half earlier. So we are going to make a duplicate. Let's start with our green layer. We are going to swipe that layer to the left. We're going to hit duplicate. We are going to take the lower of those two, and we are going to go take that purple color, select the purple color. We're going to click alpha lock, fill layer, and then turn our alpha lock off again. We can't see it because it's underneath the green version. We're going to do the exact same thing with the teal. Swipe to the left, hit duplicate, take the bottom of the two layers. We have the purple already selected, so we'll hit alpha lock, fill the layer so it turns purple. Again, we can't see it, it's underneath the teal, and we're going to turn the alpha lock off. We're going to take the, we have the lower part of the letters selected, I'm going to swipe to the right, so I have these two layers now selected, hit transform, and I'm going to drag to the slightly left, a little bit down, but slightly left. And the reason I want that is I want to be able to see a little bit of it in here around where all those pieces are. So I'm liking that. Okay, so I like both of those. They're out the same amount. Now we have to treat each of these because of the way things are layered, and that I want some of that shadow to be in between the teal and the green. I can't combine those two layers. So I've worked with them separately. Now I'm going to click on each one. I'm going to click on first the top half of my layers, that's towards the bottom. I'm going to click on my adjustments panel, select Gaussian blur. Gaussian blur is one of those adjustments that you put your pencil down somewhere towards the left and drag to the right to increase it. So we can see it's at 0%. I put my pencil down and drag, and you can see as I drag up and down it increases or decreases that blur. I like around 9%. Some cases I like it down around 4 or 5. You know what, I think I want a bit of a tighter shadow this time, so maybe I will stick it around 5. I'm going to try something a little bit different. And then I'm going to go and do the exact same thing before I forget my number, because I do get forgetful. I'm going to do the same thing. Click on the shadow, the purple version of the bottom half of our letters. Click on adjustments, select Gaussian blur, and drag that up to 5 as well so that they have the same degree of blur. It is still a little strong for me. What you have to be careful of is when you see it strong, not necessarily are you looking to add more blur. It may be that you just need to turn down the opacity a little bit. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go into, we can start with this bottom layer. and turn down the opacity. Still, I want to keep it so that it doesn't disappear with contrast into that teal. Maybe around 75%. That's not looking bad compared to the top. You can see how dark that shadow is. If you like the dark, just leave it. I'm just going to go into both of these shadow layers and turn the opacity down to 75%. Okay, if you've never worked with opacity, simply click on the N, or if you have another letter showing, if you've used the blend mode, and you're just going to use that slider at the top. Alright, my shadows are looking pretty good. I'm happy with my letter shadows. So the one thing that I still want to do is just add a little bit of a sticker dimension. So we're going to go to that white sticker outline layer. We're going to do very similar to what we did above. Hit swipe to the left, duplicate, take that lower layer. We're going to click that teal color, the darker teal that we haven't used yet. We'll do you know what? We don't have to do alpha lock this time. Let's just take that layer and drag it onto our, I think I clicked back, move back my thing and it changed my color back. If you click on the pencil, on the flat side of your pencil, it will undo, which sometimes we don't want it to do. Alright, so what we're going to do is make sure I have that teal color like I just said, and I'm going to drag and drop that into the middle. I don't see anything happen. That's because, again, it's covered by the white version, but I can see underneath that other version has turned teal. To be able to see it, I'm going to click on Transform, drag it down into the left, and we'll see that start to show up. A nice touch-up you can do just to make it look better, because you'll see it looks a little bouncy where this curve, where the two curves meet each other, look a little bouncy. So we can go into our sticker monoline, go back down to a pretty small size, still on the teal. I can seek to connect those with a slightly straighter line. So it's not quite so bouncy, so I kind of want to take the curve on one and connect it to the curve on the other. And you're just looking for a bit of smoothness there. And it's just going to look like they're a little more attached to give it a little more of that 3D look. And there we go. We have made our fun OMG sticker with those fun serifs across our letters. Like I say, I still think they look like court jesters. I'd be interested to see what you think they look like. I think they could be flowers, like the bottom part of a flower with a flower coming out of it. Yeah, there's lots of analogies we could use. Alright, I'd love to see what you've created. Feel free to tag me on Instagram if you're sharing your sticker from today. Hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Feel free to sign up below to receive an email about when more tutorials are released, and we look forward to seeing you back here soon for another coffee break with us. Thanks everyone.